Hey, we are so glad to have you with us today. I'm Louann Fulmer here with Andrew McNair. Of course, Andrew is here again today to explain what to do with your retirement assets. We know you probably have a lot of questions with everything that's going on in the world right now, and maybe you're worried about financial security in the future. Well, today, Andrew's going to outline some major financial risks that are on the horizon today, but he's going to talk about using some strategies to help protect your savings. So as we get started, let me give you that phone number, 800-848-8768, 800-848-8768. We give you this phone number so you can call for our complimentary discovery visit. Andrew and his team have offices in Pensacola and Daphne, Alabama, and they are offering you a hand up with your retirement planning, your retirement questions. 800-848-8768. This is a complimentary appointment, or you could even do a 15-minute phone call if you would like. Plus, find us online anytime on the website, swan-capital.com. And Andrew, hello to you.
Hey, I'm so glad to talk about this topic that's on everyone's mind lately.
Oh my gosh, I don't know about you. I know you're such a busy guy, but when I come home from work, I'm glued to the television, and then I get stressed, and then I have to go somewhere else and look for entertainment, on a different channel. But so much is going on with everything going on in Ukraine with Russia. So I think we're all concerned about these fuel prices that we're all experiencing, and of course, food prices, everything's going up. One thing I want to ask you about, though, is what you think might happen with interest rates, because the Fed said they'd be raising it several times this year. And then, of course, taxes. What's your message to people right now?
Well, I think interest rates have to be raised. The Fed has been, as I've said, a dollar short and a day late when it comes to interest rates, and they're trying to catch up. And if they don't start catching up, even with international conflicts, we're going to get in a real tailspin with inflation. One of the ways to curb and slow down inflation is by raising interest rates, and they need to start doing that quickly. When it comes to taxes, we've been at a point where the national debt percentage to GDP is the same as it was at the height of World War II. So when the national debt reaches a point like that, a pinnacle point like that, all it means is, again, we're going to have potentially more inflation and more taxes. And so how are you preparing your retirement to make sure you're insulating yourself from increased taxes? And that's why we talk so often on this show about tax-free accounts.
So, Andrew, I mentioned that we are certainly feeling inflation at the fuel pumps and at the grocery stores. What do you think will happen more with those?
Yeah, I think that's a great question. Supply chain logistics, as we've seen over the last 2 years, have been working overtime because of COVID. Now, unfortunately, as we see this strain because of international conflicts, this already tired system is going to be working again on overtime. And what's sad is when oil prices increase, it doesn't just affect us at the pump and with our wallet when we're paying for gas. It actually affects everything that we spend at Walmart, because oil is used and spent in multiple processes in multiple different products that we don't even think about on a daily basis. So we're going to see the increased prices of normal inflation because supply chain logistics, but also because of international conflicts involving Russia.
Right, exactly. I mean, yeah, this was already happening before this whole Russian thing. So you can't really blame it on Putin.
No, not solely. No.
Yeah, not solely. So with these global conflicts happening, we don't really know what's going to go on with the market, right? Market volatility or long-term downturns, right? So what's your message to your retirees right now?
It's like when you build a building in an earthquake zone. We need to build a financial plan that absorbs and takes advantage of market pullbacks and market corrections. See, remember, Louann, that good investors make money when the market goes up. But great investors make money either way. And to be a great investor, we have to have a financial plan that when a major recession, like a real earthquake, happens in the financial system, we have an income plan that will get us through that storm, through that period of time that's rigid enough to sustain us for 3 to 5 years through a downward market spiral. And if we have a well-built income plan, we can actually have a permission slip to buy while people are selling. And this is one of those great opportunities when the market has a correction of 10 to 15%. It's a great time to buy if you have money set aside to do so. And sadly, many families are doing nothing right now. They're having cash sit on the sidelines that is getting ate away by inflation over time. And they also have bonds that are in their portfolio that are becoming worthless over time as interest rates are rising. So staying the course, don't do anything. Just wait for the market to pull back is not always the most soundest advice from a financial professional. That's why it's very important to get a second opinion sometimes to see, is there another course of action? Is there an alternative course I can take?
Okay, so what we are offering our listeners today is a chance basically to go figure out whether maybe they should be doing something and not just waiting things out. Yeah, so tell them about that.
So I always like to share about how our sleep study works. Our sleep study is a retirement report card. Now, report cards don't always inspire a lot of people, but this retirement report card is about your retirement. Wouldn't you like to know that you have straight A's when it comes to your estate plan, your tax strategy, your income plan, your long-term care plan? And when we sit down with a family, it's a complimentary 1-hour visit when we go through the sleep study to answer every question that you have about your retirement savings, about your retirement plan. And then what I do is I give you a grade in each of these categories to say, hey, you're doing really great in these categories, but there's just a few categories, maybe like tax strategy or maybe risk protection, where we need to increase that from a C to an A, and here are the steps to get there. And it is such an informative experience for many of those families because they've only got one opinion for the last decade, and they're starting to hear new ideas that they've maybe have never heard about before. So if you're looking for an alternative route, you're looking for different advice than just stay the course or stay put or, just hope that the market comes back, give us a call at 1-800-848-8768. That's 1-800-848-8768.
And I want to guide you also to their website. Great information on that website. It's swan-capital.com, swan-capital.com. And I just want to chime in with Andrew. Let Swan Capital and Andrew and his team help you feel confident that your retirement nest egg is set up strategically for a long, flourishing retirement. They know you've worked a lifetime to get to this point. So let them help you. They're offering a hand to help you. Let them help you make sure that you are set up strategically for a long, flourishing retirement. So thanks for joining us. This is What Your Money Would Say. I'm Louann Fulmer here with Andrew McNair. So with all this uncertainty in the economy right now, I think a lot of people are wanting to find some type of certainty with their income in retirement. And we always say that Social Security is a cornerstone of our income in retirement. Tell us how that can be reliable also.
For many Americans now, Social Security is the only pension income source that a family is going to have in their household. Pensions are becoming a thing of the past. And so it's really nice to have guaranteed income a part of your income plan for retirement. Now, you may have reservations, like, is Social Security going to be there? Can I count on it? And maybe you've heard a fearmonger on TV that says, don't trust Social Security, but buy gold. And you think, wow, that sounds like a really well-thought agenda that someone's putting out there, trying to scare you to buy gold to help, make sure that they pad their wallets. And again, you have to be very careful and take two sets of opinions and weigh them. Here's what I can tell you about why I'm confident Social Security is going to be there for you and your family. And it's the big fact that the government has the ability to tax you and me. And I know that's not comforting, but that's the truth. They have the ability to tax every citizen of the United States of America wherever they go. Wherever you go, the United States of America can tax you. The only way that you can stop them from taxing you is by revoking your citizenship. Here's what's comforting. If Social Security were to ever increase FICA tax by just 1%, they estimate that would push Social Security out to 2100, which for most of us will be deceased or getting close to our 80s or 90s by then. So again, I think you have plenty to be confident about when it comes to Social Security.
Well, that's interesting. Yeah, I've never heard it put that way before, but you're right. They can certainly, lawmakers can figure it out, because they know we need that.
I hope so.
Yeah, but there is, so there's some more changes coming to Social Security that are under debate in Congress right now. So I want you to go into that about what they announced, an increase in payment, but there's even more, I guess, on the horizon.
Yeah, they're talking about a lot of different changes. So the Social Security Administration announced in 2022 that they would increase payments by 5.9%, which is the highest increase in nearly 40 years. And I told you about 6 months ago that that's the canary in the coal mine. Mm-hmm. If they're increasing Social Security by 6%, it's probably because inflation is a lot worse than that, and they're expecting it to be a lot worse than that. But a new bill in Congress actually would increase these payments even further. Now, the bill before the House is actually determining, does it make sense for them to increase payments by about 2% for the average beneficiary, which would be outstanding. In essence, you would now have almost an 8% increase.
Wow.
They would also make changes to the annual cost of living adjustment, your COLA formula, to really more adequately deal with the inflation problem that we're having. Also, they would improve benefits for widows and widowers in a 2-income household, which I think could really get some rework, because a widow does not receive a benefit till age 60. So if your spouse passes away when you're 50 years old, unfortunately, she or he is going to have to wait till they're 60 years old. So there's definitely an overhaul that's needed for Social Security. We're not sure if this will pass, but one of my biggest concerns is if Social Security's pot full of money is running dry and filled with IOUs, I know it sounds good to get an increase in Social Security, but it will cost the American taxpayers in different ways.
Okay, so the main financial lesson we should be learning from everything going on
is, again, don't stay the course. If you're being told right now, don't worry about the market, it will come back, that's not advice. That's a prayer. And I'm a praying man, but we all have brains to pivot and to do Roth conversions when the markets are down, to convert bonds to stocks. We also have the ability to take cash that's sitting on the sidelines, that's been sitting on the sidelines for years maybe, and max out your retirement accounts. Maybe it's a great time to max out your TSP, your IRA or 401k while the markets are on sale. I've always liked the analogy that Mr. Market is like a irrational shop owner. One day he says everything's half priced. One day he thinks everything should be overpriced. And you want to take advantage of this manic depressive market. And that's why you need to make sure when the market goes down that you view it as an opportunity, not something to fear. Now, if you're listening and you say, Andrew, that's a completely different narrative that I'm getting from the news or maybe of my own financial professional, I want to learn more. I want to hear your thoughts on the market. Check out our website at swan-capital.com, where you can find a copy of our State of the Market 2022, or you can go to our YouTube channel directly and go to the State of the Market 2022, where over a 45-minute period, I unpack what my forecasts are for the next 6 months in the economy as well as the markets, and where we talked about Russia and Ukraine, that it potentially could turn into a problem, which it did. Not because I'm a prophet, but because we need to keep our eyes on the market. And so check out that video. I think you'll really encourage you that there are opportunities on the horizon. If you want to contact us directly, remember that we're not in the office on the weekends. So if you leave a voicemail, someone on Monday, like Suzette or Olivia, will call you to schedule your discovery visit. So give us a call. Even if you're driving, you can pull over and give us a call at 1-800-848-8768. That's 1-800-848-8768. Andrew,
we know retirees have so many choices that they need to make, right? And some of them are big decisions, some of them maybe not so big. But we're going to play Would You Rather, and it's kind of going to be a fun little time to get to know you, Andrew, more about just some personal things. But then also we're going to tie it into retirement decisions, okay?
Sounds great.
All right. So here's your first big question in our version of the game. Would you rather never lose your keys again or never lose your phone again?
I would probably say my keys. I lose them all the time. I go around shaking my pants and shaking bags and saying, where are my keys? But, I'd love to have one of those like phone apps that start my car. So I guess I should hope to never lose my phone because if I had an app to start my car, I could do it that way.
I was just going to say that, but then you got to make sure you don't lose your phone.
I know.
Oh, that's funny. I don't know what I would do, but I'm the same way. I'm like, I can't find my keys. And, what we need to do, Andrew, is put them always put them in the same place.
Same spot.
place. Yeah, that's what we need to do.
Too easy.
Yeah, I know. Too easy, right? So, all right, here's a big would you rather for a lot of people. Okay. Would you rather leave a big inheritance to your family or would you rather just spend it? So, Andrew, I thought this would be good for you to tell us about maybe some conversations you've had with people who are trying to make that decision.
So nearly every visit that we have with families, Louann, for the first time, this is one of the questions I ask because I think it's such an important question to ask that sometimes families have never talked about with their spouse. And here's how I ask it. I say on a scale to 1 to 10, 10 being every breath I take, it is so important to leave money behind to my kids. And 1, I could care less, and I hope the last check bounces. Where do you sit on this continuum? And I've had so many families like answer differently where the husband's like, it's a 0, and the spouse says it's a 10, and you're like, I think I should leave the room because this is going to be a fight.
Yeah.
A lot of times families, though, are on the same page, and they'll all answer, hey, it's a 7 to me. Here's why that's such an important question. When you can decide that your principal is not a sacred cow, that you can actually spend down some of your principal, it gives you a permission slip to actually spend more in retirement because you're not beholden to leave something to your kids when you and your spouse have decided that's not a main priority.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and then that way they can just go have a lot of fun in retirement.
Exactly. Well, you earned it. It's your money.
Well, yeah, that's so true. So we have talked before about celebrities who were not, they did not make a plan, okay, for an inheritance, like Prince, right? He died without any type of a will or anything. But there are celebrities actually that I want to bring up who are saying they don't want to leave an inheritance to their kids, and I find this fascinating. So we know Anderson Cooper, right, the journalist. He was not left an inheritance from his mom, who was Gloria Vanderbilt. Right?
Vanderbilt. That's a big name.
I mean, a big name. And he says that's why he was so motivated to succeed professionally. And he doesn't plan to give anything to his kid, which I'm like, wow, guys, listen to this. Jackie Chan, worth an estimated $400 million, plans to leave it to charity rather than to give it to his son.
Wow.
And then I'm not done. Marie Osmond, she has about $20 million, I think. She doesn't plan to give it to any of her 8 kids. She's going to give it all to charity. So I don't know if that was my mom, I'd be going, Mom.
You've sang for all these years.
Yeah.
The least you can do.
Can you not? But anyway, so you must be seeing this as sort of a trend that they just want their kids to become independently successful, I guess, right?
Well, I hope we all hope our kids become independent and leave the nest and don't need our money or don't hope for our money to sustain them. So I've always told people that comfort does not equate to character. Mm-hmm. And that's why we want to give our kids a better life by doing that sometimes, by trying to pad their life and insulate their life by giving them money and gifting them money. It actually does the backwards result than we want. And there's an expression that's literally been around for thousands of years, and it goes like this: shirt sleeves to shirt sleeves in 3 generations. And that means that someone can work their way to become a success, but then the next generation, it's spent, and then the 3rd generation, it disappears, and they're back to the same old shirt sleeves that they were. No dress shirts. And that can happen with billion-dollar wealth, like the Vanderbilts, for example.
Yeah.
And so this is what I share with families, that wealth that is earned is spent earnestly. Wealth that isn't earned isn't earnestly spent.
That's a good point. But then I got to sit there and think Vanderbilt, Gloria. So she made money, yeah, but she came from money. So maybe she's not being too fair to her son. But anyway, okay, let's do some information here at this point where I want you to tell our listeners what you are offering them for some guidance if they need some guidance on maybe what to do with their money or how to spend their money in retirement.
Absolutely. So what's nice is we have Scott Malik, who's an estate planning attorney in our office, and we have some very deep, confidential conversations with families about what their legacy is going to look like, and we want to make sure it matches your wishes. So if you have legal documents, or maybe you need a trust for your situation because you want to not only make sure you leave a legacy, but you want to leave directions with that legacy also, well, you need to have a meeting with Scott Malik. He's an estate planning attorney that should be here for decades to help you and your family transition your legacy to your kids and your grandkids in the most efficient way possible. So don't hesitate to give us a call and mention in the voicemail when you leave a voicemail about scheduling a visit that you want to talk about estate planning and have your legal documents complimentary for free. Have your legal documents reviewed by Scott by just leaving a message at 1-800-848-8768. That's 1-800-848-8768. 8768.
And then let me just take you to their website too. It's swan-capital.com. In your spare time, you can head there and find out even more about Andrew McNair and his team at Swan Capital. Andrew's president and CEO there, and he is offering you an opportunity to come and meet him personally. I mean, he's on the air every single weekend. He is local. He grew up here in Pensacola, and he and his wife, Natasha, are building a life here. So he's going to be around a long time. He's already been doing this for so many years. He has had the education behind him. He's a smart guy. So if you don't know him by now, you need to go in and meet him. So we just thank you so much for joining us. This is What Your Money Would Say with Andrew McNair. I'm Louann Fulmer. So, okay. I want you to maybe help us with the people who would rather leave their money to a charity or some type of an organization. If you could kind of tell us some strategies to think about for smart charitable giving and saving money on taxes.
Well, the first thing I want to talk about is make sure that you use the resources that are available that didn't exist maybe 10 or 15 years ago, like Charity Navigator. It's such a great resource because it tells you the financial and fiscal responsibility of the charities that you're planning to leave your legacy to. So what you don't want to do is leave your legacy to an institution that will not actually make the best use of your money. And we've seen that in a lot of charity organizations where there's so much overhead and administration fees. And if the families would have just pulled back the curtain a little bit and done the research, they could have gave it to a better charity. And this is really where my passion is, Louann. You know that half of my estate goes to Natasha, my wife, and the other half goes to three very important ministries, and that is the Word of Life. Word of Life is a great Christian Bible camp that goes around the world to spread the gospel. Samaritan's Purse, where Billy Graham's legacy with Franklin Graham, where they're helping people in need. They're sending shoe boxes around the world, as well as the International Mission Board to help support missionaries. There's great organizations just like this, but of course I did my research on these organizations too because they have low overhead, and that's why half of my estate goes to them.
Awesome. That is awesome. I just looked it up. Charity Navigator. Is that an app? I mean, I see a website there.
Yeah, it's a website.
Okay.
Now, they may have an app, but it is definitely a desktop. Charity Navigator is a website that you should definitely spend some time on when you're looking to leave money behind.
Okay, awesome. A lot of our planning conversations kind of boil down to this. Would you rather get your affairs in order now, and make sure your money goes where you want it, or would you just rather leave it up to your heirs and the courts to sort it all out? I think we kind of know the answer there. I know what you would advise.
Well, I think people, when they lean to the other side, they just don't know or they're uninformed about what probate is. Probate is a court of law, just like there's a civil court, a family court, a criminal court. But this whole court, it takes a long time. The average time in Baldwin County as well as Escambia County can take 11 to 16 months to go through probate. I know Scott was working on a probate case that took him 3 to 4 years. Can you imagine someone passing away, being buried 11 days, and it takes them 11 months to put their legacy to rest? That's a shame. And the other part is it's costly. So a lot of times people think, well, I only have a very simple situation. I have only one child. Of course, they will get everything I have. And I say, unfortunately, that's not the case. If your family goes through probate, you're going to have two beneficiaries, and the other one's an attorney, not your only child. And you're talking 3% in attorney's fees potentially. So on $1 million, that could mean $30,000 in attorney's fees. That takes 11 to 16 months. And that can be avoided by working with an estate planning attorney like Scott Malik in our office. We're not going to send you down the street to Joe Smuckatelli, who, I've never worked with, you've never worked with. No, we have an estate planning attorney in our office that's worked with literally hundreds of our clients to make sure that you have the proper estate planning documents that you need.
Andrew, I hate to say it, but this is all the time we have for Would You Rather today.
Well, I want to thank you for listening to What Your Money Would Say. If you have questions about your estate planning documents, maybe you don't have a will or a trust or a life estate on your home, but you want to learn more about those things, give us a call. And when you give us a call, I just want to give you a heads up that we are spending time with our families this weekend, so no one will pick up at the office. So leave a message on the voicemail that you want to talk to Scott about estate planning documents. And someone in our office, Olivia most likely, will call you on Monday to chat with you about finding a time to sit down with Scott and myself to make sure that you have all your estate planning ducks in a row, as well as your retirement plan is made sure that you've crossed your T's and dot your I's on your retirement plan. So give us a call at 1-800-848-8768. That's 1-800-848-8768. I want to thank you for listening to What Your Money Would Say. I'm Andrew McNair, and I'll be back next week to help you unravel the right things that you need to do for a successful retirement. Again, the number to reach us again is 1-800-848-8768. I look forward to seeing you next time.